So, I know you'll have heard the stories about Aaliyah allegedly being sedated and carried unconscious onto the plane that later took her life. You'll have also probably heard the claims that her mother, Diane, supposedly sold her out, and that her uncle Barry Hankerson suspiciously ended up with a $90 million settlement after Aaliyah's death.
Barry, when Aaliyah died for a wrongful death, he got paid $90 million for her death. Am I supposed to say that on TV? Sue me, I ain't got nothing. So I was with him on the negotiation.
But do y'all know the real reason people believe Aaliyah's family truly sold her out? And did they actually have a hand in planning her music death? I mean, we all know Aaliyah usually traveled with family because she was afraid of flying. But somehow, on the day she died, she was by herself. That alone makes people wonder, did her own mother know there was something off about that plane and purposely stay behind? Well, Nicki Minaj has people looking even harder into what really happened to Aaliyah after she accused Jay-Z of being a PDF over his alleged involvement with Aaliyah when she was young. And now folks are digging up all kinds of things about Miss Diane. And honestly, it's wild, y'all. Some people really believe this woman may have sold out her own daughter. Okay, just to give a little background so you can really understand the mum, I noticed a lot of people don't actually know her story. Diane was born on January 11th, 1951 in New York, and she is the younger sister of American record producer and label owner Barry Hankerson. She was married to Michael H. Horton and had Rashad, born August 6th, 1977, and of course Aaliyah, born January 16th, 1979. One thing you should know is that early on, Diane was a stay-at-home mum for much of Aaliyah and Rashad's childhood, and she really seemed committed to taking care of them and being music there for them. Meanwhile, her husband Michael worked in the warehouse business. Now, as for how Diane discovered Aaliyah had talent, Aaliyah used to hear her mother singing around the house while she played all kinds of records. Then, when Diane realized Aaliyah could actually hold a tune and saw how much she enjoyed performing after being cast in her school production of Annie, she decided to take charge of helping launch Aaliyah's career. Keep in mind, Aaliyah's mother was Barry Hankerson's sister, and Barry was married to Gladys Knight at the time. So it became pretty easy for Aaliyah to travel with Gladys, watch her perform, and even join her on stage from time to time. Basically, she soaked up everything she could from her aunt, and eventually she ended up signing to her uncle Barry Hankerson's label, Blackground Records, at just 12 years old. And this is where things started getting a little messy. Actually, very music messy. The truth is, Aaliyah spent much of her career surrounded and influenced by much older men in the industry. And it's strange how her family never seemed too concerned about all these older men constantly being around her. First, music. There was R. Kelly. Once Aaliyah signed to Blackground Records, she soon met recording artist and producer R. Kelly. He later became the lead songwriter and producer of her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. But Kelly did more than just help shape Aaliyah's career, because he also brought her into a deeply controversial and inappropriate relationship before allegedly forging documents to marry her, reportedly while music may have been pregnant too. And to make it even worse, reports claimed R. Kelly forged those documents and pushed through a marriage ceremony so that, as his wife, Aaliyah wouldn't be forced to testify against him in court. Back then, people in the music industry were already aware of the disturbing allegations surrounding R. Kelly, and still, Aaliyah's own family practically handed her over to him. I mean, just look at how nervous this man got when Aaliyah was asked her age in an interview. Of laughter.
Talking a lot of smack. My age ain't nothing but a number, girl. I'm like, what you trying to say? So immediately I heard the song, and I said, I called her back 15 minutes later, told her, check this out. So we cut the track right then and there.
And for the record, you are how old? That's a secret. Women doesn't disclose her age.
But it gets even worse, guys. The 2019 Lifetime documentary Surviving R. Kelly alleged that Aaliyah's parents were in communication with R. Kelly when he married Aaliyah, and that they assured him they would not press charges. I know, what? And as a thank you, R. Kelly reportedly sold the rights to his Music first 3 albums to Aaliyah's family. Aaliyah's parents also moved quickly to have the marriage annulled in February 1995, and an NDA was reportedly signed between Aaliyah, her parents, and R. Kelly, promising that none of them would ever speak about it. And guess music what? Aaliyah's mom even claimed that the backup dancers and singers who said they witnessed an inappropriate relationship between Aaliyah and R. Kelly were lying, and that they didn't even know Aaliyah. Allegedly, Aaliyah's mother was also the one who persuaded her to deny the relationship with R. Kelly during interviews.
I am really busy with the career and the fact that I'm getting ready to go back to school, so I just see how it works in.
3 years ago, there was this terrible rumor out. What is the deal with you and R. Kelly? Are you all married or not?
No, I'm not married. Robert's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. He's a great producer, great artist who I do admire, and there's nothing there at all.
Like, how disgusting is that, honey? For a lot of people, it has just never added up how Aaliyah's mother allowed her to be around all of these grown men. R. Kelly, Diddy, Jay-Z, Dame Dash, every single one of them were adults. And then you had people like Timbaland publicly admitting that he wanted a piece of her too. In fact, during a 2011 episode of True Hollywood Story, Timbaland admitted he was romantically attracted to Aaliyah when they first met. But here's the issue. They met while working on Aaliyah's sophomore album 1 in a Million, which she started recording when she was only 16. And at that time, Timbaland was 23. Another thing you all should know is that Aaliyah also attended Diddy's parties. Now, I don't know whether she stayed for the freak-offs, but we have definitely seen photos of her at those events. For example, there's that photo from Diddy's 4th of July party on July 2nd, 2000, where the two of them are all cozied up in bed. Diddy and Aaliyah were also photographed together several times, like Music that moment in 2001 at the MTV Movie Awards, and a bunch of other times too if you go down that rabbit hole the way I did. Honestly, she was always around those people. And then the next thing we know, Aaliyah died in a plane crash. And nothing has really made music sense since. Okay, when it comes to the parts of her death that never added up, the first major issue is that the small plane was reportedly several £100 over its maximum music weight limit, which would have made it much harder to control once it was in the air. And as if the weight problem was not already bad enough, the pilot was also reportedly flying with a fake license and was allegedly under the influence of alcohol and other substances at the time of the crash. Music. Then there's also Kathy Iandoli, who wrote in her book Baby Girl, better known as Aaliyah, that a man named Kingsley Russell, whose family operated a taxi and hospitality business in the Abaco Islands, was with Aaliyah while his stepmother drove her team to the airport for their return flight to the United States. According to him, when Aaliyah saw the plane that was supposed to take her back to the US mainland, she refused to board it and got back in the cab. Then someone from her entourage reportedly came back to ask what was wrong. And Aaliyah is said to have repeated her concerns about getting on that overloaded plane, after which she was allegedly given a sleeping pill and fell into a deep sleep before being carried back onto the aircraft. Why would they need to carry her onto that plane while she was asleep, after she had clearly said she did not want to get on it? Anyway, what Nicki Minaj and others are saying right now is that maybe it is finally time for Aaliyah's family members, especially her mother, to be held accountable for what happened to her, because there is just no way they didn't know what was going on. Well, family members have also been questioned about whether they knew anything, and in an interview with Dr. Oz, Aaliyah's uncle Barry Hankerson, claimed Music he had no idea about the relationship between R. Kelly and Aaliyah, but he did say that his sister and Aaliyah's mother, Diane, definitely knew about it.
Were you aware of the issues going on with R. Kelly when they were going on?
No, didn't have a clue. Completely ignorant to it.
Do you think anyone in the family was?
Yes. I think my sister knew a lot more than what we thought she
He claimed he had no idea what was going on, and honestly, that's pretty hard to believe. But tell me this, why did Aaliyah's uncle Barry end up receiving $90 million after her death? And word on the street was that Aaliyah was allegedly preparing to leave his label once her album came out, Music. But then Barry reportedly signed a liability agreement just 5 days before her passing, stating that if anything happened to Aaliyah, Blackground would not be held responsible. That really makes people feel like all Barry cared about was getting his money back and using his niece for profit. And if we're being real, it has long seemed like he cared less about Aaliyah herself and more about the money she was bringing into Blackground. What people still can't figure out is why he signed that liability agreement only 5 days before she died. It almost comes off like he knew something was about to happen to Aaliyah. Child, people just want answers, and Nicki Minaj has been throwing gasoline on the fire over the last couple of weeks. She already hinted that sacrifices may have been happening in Hollywood when she posted photos of Jay-Z with Aaliyah and Beyoncé music from 1996 and 1997. And over those images, she listed the ages of all 3 artists. On top of that, Nicki also posted another picture of Jay-Z and Aaliyah and called Jay out for being a PDF. She even wrote in another tweet, "Imagine if a 30-year-old rapper was out here with a 16-year-old in this day and age, and how y'all would have his head on a platter. The guy was hugging and humping on them in broad daylight. Music. Next, I'll get on the owner of the Shade Room and more." Well, now she has people digging into Aaliyah's mother and questioning whether greed made her sell Aaliyah out. And for what in the end? Because she still lost her biggest source of income. I also can't help but wonder how Aaliyah's brother Rashad is handling all of this, especially with these recent allegations coming out. Maybe. It's honestly really sad, but I'd love to know what you music think about the claims that Aaliyah's mother sold her out. So go ahead and sound off in the comments section below.